A few years ago, I first heard about the theory that rich politicians were using blood transfusions to stay young. I then came across the work of a Russian scientist by the name of Alexander Bogdanov, who in 1924 performed 11 blood transfusions on himself, aiming to extend his lifespan. Back then, we knew about the basic blood types, A, B, AB, and O, but the Rh factor, positive or negative in other words, was still unknown. And tragically, this led to an incompatible transfusion that ended his life. So here's the question. Can blood transfusions really slow aging? Or is there something even more powerful in our bodies? Hi, I'm Brenden Henry, the founder of the Institute of Peptide Science and Scientific Augmentation. And did you know that blood plasma contains millions of peptides? These peptides act as signaling molecules, which regulate gene expression and protein production throughout the body. So when I heard about Brian Johnson's father experiencing a 25-year reduction in his rate of aging after just one blood transfusion, I immediately thought about peptides. For years, scientists have been trying to understand the anti-aging effects of blood transfusions. And one protein, known as growth differentiation factor 11, a member of the TGF-beta family, has been identified as one contributor. But is it overhyped? GDF11 is linked to brain vascular restoration and reversing myocardial hypertrophy, which is something that most doctors would say is very difficult, if not impossible. So it clearly has its uses in specific contexts. Steve Perry has been leading GDF11 trials in older aged humans, and it does show some promising results. Participants experienced improvements in reaction time and cardiovascular markers, which are factors linked to reduced biological age. And Steve Perry himself has experienced a 29.5-year biological age reversal over the course of 8 years. However, the data around GDF11 remains complex, and here's why. GDF11 is structurally very similar to myostatin, which is a protein that puts the brakes on muscle protein synthesis by binding to the activin type 2 receptors. Well, this receptor is the same one that GDF11 binds to, and it exerts some different effects. But even though it reduces myostatin's binding potential by competing with it at this receptor, it still is an inhibitor of muscle growth. This similarity creates a double-edged sword, especially for people who are entering old age, as they are the population that's at risk of sarcopenia, which puts them at risk of frailty. Now, for some more context, follistatin, the gene therapy that Brian Johnson got, is a protein that inhibits myostatin, but it also inhibits GDF11. And this is how follistatin helps to reduce the risk of sarcopenia in older age and likely contributes to extending lifespan in mice. Increasing muscle mass can help prevent metabolic disorders like insulin resistance, which in turn can enhance immune function and reduce the risk of cancer, which is one of the most common causes of death in laboratory mice. However, this adds a layer of complexity, as GDF11 also has beneficial effects that shouldn't be overlooked. I've therefore concluded that neither follistatin therapy nor GDF11 is suitable for everyone. Instead, they are each useful in very specific contexts. If you are someone who's at risk of muscle wasting, then follistatin could be helpful. On the other hand, if you have a lot of muscle mass to spare and you're dealing with cardiac hypertrophy or cognitive decline, then GDF11 could be a better option for you. But I want to be clear. There are serious risks to GDF11 if it's overdosed, such as organ fibrosis from inhibiting transcription factor EB in some organs, such as the liver. This disrupts autophagy, which is important for liver repair and function. And this brings us to peptides, which are incredibly intelligent in their mechanisms, almost like molecular nanotechnology. 3 of these peptides even have binding sites in the GDF11 gene promoter region, which is the region that facilitates gene transcription. But what's key is that these peptides also have additional mechanisms that counter the negatives of inhibiting transcription factor EB by promoting autophagy. Take pineolon, for example. It not only induces irisin and PPAR alpha, which help prevent muscle wasting, but it also activates TFEB, which helps prevent liver fibrosis. This is why pineolon has no serious side effects, even at doses 1,000 times higher than typical doses. It's a naturally occurring peptide in the body. This is what I mean when I say peptides are incredibly intelligent. And it's not just theory. Studies have shown that rapamycin, an mTOR inhibitor and autophagy inducer, can help prevent the negative side effects of GDF11 over administration. So regarding the benefits of blood transfusions, they stem from a synergy of peptides and proteins which act as signaling molecules to influence gene expression and cellular repair. And as we age, our bodies undergo epigenetic changes, including shifts in DNA methylation patterns that promote aging and reduce cellular function. This ultimately reduces the amount of peptides and protein transcription factors that are being produced. And one major change is the tightening of chromatin, which is the protective wrapper around our DNA, which makes genes less accessible. And here's the exciting part. We can actually reverse this tightening. Studies show that Khavinson's peptides can modify histone proteins, which regulate chromatin structure. And by loosening this chromatin, These peptides reopen genes which restore youthful gene expression, and this can lead to measurable reductions in biological age at the epigenetic level. Dr. Bill Lawrence, who collaborated with Professor Khavinson after realizing the peptides' potential and using them on himself, is the only person in his family to have lived past the age of 70. His ongoing trials, which involve cycling Khavinson's cytomaxes, the naturally derived peptide complexes, have demonstrated a consistent reduction in biological aging on the most renowned epigenetic test known as the Horvath clock. It's groundbreaking science, but most longevity experts either aren't aware of it or they simply aren't talking about it. Maybe they want to keep it their secret. I don't know. If peptides are so effective, you might be wondering, why aren't they being talked about more then? Well, the truth is that much of the groundbreaking research is buried in the Russian literature. These are studies that many people either don't trust or they can't even access. And peptides also can be patented by Big Pharma, so there's no financial incentive to promote them. This is why they work to suppress them, and I've actually detailed this in my video titled, Why Peptide Health Cures Are Hidden, where I share my personal journey to bring awareness to this science. Inside my Peptide Mastery course, you'll find 55 peptide protocols designed for a wide range of objectives, but I'm not going to stop right there. Coming soon is the limited edition Peptide Black Book of Alchemy, which will feature 60 of the most synergistic peptide protocols, which are carefully paired with supplements and medications to target specific problems or create specific health and performance transformations. It's being designed to offer you the highest value possible, short of our molecular bioenhancement coaching programs with Ali and I.